Okay, well, I'm going to do my best.
Okay.
I really don't see that being a problem, except for the lock. We got to make sure that we can get that thing done. I'll have to get on that right away.
Let's do it.
Okay.
While millions watched the American Restoration's crew breathe life into rusted relics, a devastating wave of tragedy was dismantling the team in private. From the effects of the shocking Season 7 purge that heavily damaged the entire cast, to the untimely passing of fan-favorite experts. Plenty of negatives piled up in their stories. Who were the affected cast, and what really happened to them? Join us as we list the 10 American Restoration members who have faced tragedy. Number 10. Bob Halliday. The list starts with Bob Halliday, who appeared on American Restoration just 1 year before his passing. Before then, Bob Halliday and his wife, Laurel, had built Bob's Garage together in New Orleans, Louisiana, spending nearly 2 decades restoring neon signs, Wayne and Talkheim gas pumps, and vintage Coca-Cola machines. Before finding his calling in restoration, and before the game of television, he had a successful career in diving. His eventual switch to restoration stemmed from his younger days when he grew up in an apartment hotel managed by his parents. There he fostered a lifelong love for vintage vending machines. This love led him to become the go-to expert for Hollywood prop design. With time, he even built sets for the famous Coen brothers. Bob approached his work as a labor of love, but this was cut short by a tragedy. First, in 2005, the catastrophic Hurricane Katrina came through and took everything he had. He was left with nothing. Not even his house or workplace remained. All his stocks and assets were gone. The life they had built for decades on that street went with the hurricane. Yet while most people would have stopped there, Bob and Laurel packed what was left and moved to Georgia to start over from scratch. By the time the History Channel came calling to add Bob's Garage to the Season 7 roster of American Restoration, the shop had already climbed back up into conversations as one of the most respected businesses in South America. Yet sadly, it wasn't destined to last. Season 7 would be the only season Bob ever got on television because, on July 24, 2017, he underwent hip surgery for a condition he had been diagnosed with. The procedure went ahead, and he was moved to recovery. It seemed he would be back to normal in a matter of time, but that night, he passed away in his sleep. He was 66 years old, and his sudden death deeply shocked the expectant restoration community, which had high hopes for a promising career that had just restarted. Bob wasn't the only cast member to lose his life in a battle with disease. Just like him, another one bit the dust. Number 9. Dale Walksler. This star had already spent a lifetime building and saving machines long before American Restoration ever found him. Sadly, just like Bob, just 1 year after television found him, his cancer diagnosis, which had spent 4 years taking away everything he had built, finally caught up to him. He built his first motorcycle at just 15 years old in 1967, opened a Harley-Davidson dealership in Mount Vernon at 22, and eventually moved his entire collection to Maggie Valley in North Carolina, where he opened Wheels Through Time in 2002. Wheels Through Time was a museum built around a philosophy that housed his belief that old motorcycles should not sit behind glass, but should still run as often as possible. When Season 7 brought him onto American Restoration in 2016, he was already one of the most knowledgeable motorcycle collectors in the country. Fans immediately clung to a man who could easily start a machine that had not moved in 40 years and ride it down the museum floor without breaking a sweat. When the diagnosis for his cancer came, he went through a stage of denial and shock before deciding to go through with the prescribed 4 years of chemotherapy. The chemotherapy was especially painful, and tragically, at 68 years on February 3, 2021, Dale Walksler passed away at home with his wife, Tricia, by his side. His son, Matt, currently runs the museum, and today he tries to reenact the flame that was his father, constantly starting the bikes and riding them down the same floor Dale built 24 years ago. The head of the entire franchise wasn't immune to bad news. One time, he had to confront the tragedy of losing a parent, too. Number 8. James "Jimmy" Dale. Rick Dale is an expert restorer with nearly 30 years of experience and his own shop in Las Vegas called Rick's Restorations. He has done so much to be widely recognized as the star of American restorations, but behind all these accolades is the man who raised him, his father, James Dale. Rick Dale's father was a tough, old-school mentor who inadvertently launched Rick's entire career, but couldn't experience it firsthand. When Rick was just 9 years old, his father brought home a badly broken, rusted bicycle. Instead of fixing it for him, his father told him that if he ever wanted to ride a bike, he had to figure out how to restore and fix it entirely on his own. He spent days taking the bike apart before finally fixing it. And this single test was what sparked Rick's lifelong obsession with bringing dead machinery back to life. Surely, if he could do the same to humans, he wouldn't have hesitated to, because in 2010, right before his father could see his own son achieve greatness, he met his demise. It happened just months before the History Channel officially gave American Restoration the green light to come in as a solo spin-off. For Rick, losing his ultimate mentor right at the finish line of his lifelong success was an incredibly profound and lingering emotional sorrow. So much so that till today, he has refused to release additional information regarding the death. Just like James's, in the sister version of the show, another father passed on, leaving a massive hole behind. Number 7. Daniel Nicholas Coker Sr. Danny Coker was a frequent crossover guest from Pawn Stars due to his ties with stars like Rick and his overwhelming expertise in the field. And just like Rick's, his father also passed on just before he made it big. Daniel Coker Sr. was the single greatest influence on Danny's career, effectively providing the blueprints for both his automotive empire and his musical style. When Danny was 8 years old, his father bought him a motorcycle. Instead of just letting him ride it, he instructed him to tear it down to the frame and rebuild it. This hands-on project serves as the foundation of Danny's career as a self-taught mechanic. As an executive at the Ford Motor Company, he also regularly brought home automotive manuals and components, immersing his son in car culture and allowing him access to car information, parts, and inner industry knowledge right from the get-go. The father and son spent decades buying, fixing, and cruising in classic American muscle cars, and this has directly influenced Danny's current multi-million-dollar vehicle collection. It is made of the cars they chose together, and many outsiders have never failed to note how much of a unique collection it is. Just before he caught the attention of Pawn Star executives, his father passed away from natural causes at the age of 74. The family has always chosen to keep the details of his medical history private, with their official obituary published in the Las Vegas Review-Journal simply stating that he went to be with their Savior, Lord Jesus Christ, plus the date of his death on Sunday, February 17, 2008. When Danny's father passed on, he was known locally in Las Vegas as a business owner and musician, but he had not yet broken into mainstream reality television. Because of this timeline, his father never got to witness his son's rise to global television stardom or see the massive success of Count's Customs on the air. After his rise, then came his fall. Just as he reached great heights, so did an enormous scandal pull him out and away from the spotlight. Number 6. Danny Coker. Danny Coker built an empire in Las Vegas combining his two absolute greatest loves. classic American muscle cars, and heavy 1970s rock music. After some time of pushing through with this hustle, the History Channel handed him his own spin-off series called Counting Cars. It ran for nearly a decade, and it ran well, but along the road, it soon faced a big problem. In March 2016, he hit a financially tough spot when a trusted front desk employee called Joseph Front Desk Joey Bowles embezzled roughly $75,000 from his business. This was flagged as a severe mismanagement of the shop's payroll taxes, resulting in massive IRS fines. He definitely should have wished for it to stop here, because when the show wrapped up its television run in 2021, he faced multi-million-dollar lawsuits from disgruntled customers and business partners. The sheer weight of these legal and financial crises took an extreme physical toll on him. He lost over 35 pounds from stress, causing him to look gaunt and drastically changing his appearance. This caused so much uproar that a bunch of rumors flew through social circles about how he was facing a whole new and different tragedy. It got to the point that some fabricated rumors about a secret battle with terminal cancer came to the surface. Some even mindlessly alleged that he was facing hard prison time. In reality, Danny survived the worst corporate attack of his career and still managed to get by, living under the shadow of persistent internet death hoaxes. One more guest star on American Restoration was plagued with very heavy legal troubles. Number 5. Chumlee. Austin Chumlee. Russell had his own shop and series, but was a frequent presence on American Restoration, especially on special star-studded episodes. Chumlee was actually one of the main reasons the spin-off show was created in the first place. In the early days of Pawn Stars, he and Corey Harrison would regularly transport completely obliterated, rusted antiques to a local metal fabricator. This fabricator was Rick Dale, and they would do this to see if he could pull off a mechanical miracle. Over time, Chumlee became a high-profile, recurring crossover client at Rick's Restorations, bringing in highly personal and quirky jobs to test the shop's incredible talent. His comedic negotiations with Rick, combined with his total awe at seeing his childhood toys resurrect, became the highlights of the guest series, cementing his status as the bridge between Pawn Stars and American Restoration. But behind all of this, he also had his own fair share of problems. In March 2016, right around the same time, the History Channel decided to completely axe Rick and the original American Restoration crew. Las Vegas police executed a massive armed raid on Chumlee's home during a harassment investigation. While no assault charges were ever filed due to a lack of evidence, the raid completely exposed a dark, hidden personal life. Inside his mansion, police discovered a secret room equipped with a stripper pole, 12 illegal firearms, massive quantities of drugs, and evidence of heavy cocaine use. Eventually, he was slammed with 20 severe felony counts and stared down the barrel of a potential 30-year prison sentence. His legal team acted quickly, and in the end, he was given 3 years of intense probation and mandatory counseling. The next person on this list is one whose existence lost all meaning after the stunt the History Channel pulled. Number 4. Kevin "Cowboy" Lowry. After a series of legal disagreements between Rick Dale and the History Channel's decision-makers, the show was canceled. The channel immediately let go of all the cast and left most with nowhere to go or turn to. But out of everyone who ever worked at Rick's Restorations, Kevin Lowry is the only one nobody has been able to find. When visitors started showing up at the shop after the show made it famous, Cowboy was sometimes the one who walked them around the yard. There was a funny situation when one person left a review on TripAdvisor describing him as a moody person who was unwilling to stop for photographs. Given everything that came after, His story sounds more like a person who just wanted to show up and get the job done, rather than relate with cameras and extra attention. There were almost no major concerns about his well-being while he was still present and active on the show, but everything changed when the show ended. Kevin Lowry simply stopped existing on any public record. While every other member of Rick's crew left some kind of trail behind them, whether a business, a farewell post, or even a photograph, he left nothing at all. Also, anybody who has gone looking for him has found anything worth reporting, not even a recent picture. He maintains a total off-the-grid stance, refusing to create any public Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook profiles. Like Cowboy, the next 3 people also disappeared, but they did so in different ways. Number 3, Kyle Astorga. There was a time that whenever the doors of Rick's restorations rolled open in Las Vegas, and Kyle Astorga was already inside with grease on his hands and an open machine spread across a steel workbench with its parts all over. Viewers of American Restoration saw him primarily as the busiest cast member of the series. He was always beside Rick Dale, and was also present wherever work started or ended in the shop. Kyle appeared in roughly 50 episodes between 2010 and 2014. He wasn't just a hard worker. Watchers of the series also called him one of the shop's most skilled workers. He was the man Rick trusted when a project had to be put back together piece by piece. While other people argued, joked, or handled customers, he would always be seen busying his hands with something. He rarely took center stage, but was in the right place so often that viewers knew exactly where to look to find him, without having stepped foot into the store themselves. After the end came, Kyle did not choose to walk away from his career completely. He chose a completely different path than the invisible cowboy. He deleted his presence from the digital world, refusing to maintain any social media accounts, fan conventions, or even interviews. He packed his bags and retreated to a remote wilderness lifestyle, moving to New Mexico to continue work and still keeping in touch from time to time. Number 2 on the list also disappeared from TV, but in his case, he was deeply hurt by it. Number 2, Ron Dale. Before ever appearing on reality television, Ron Dale lived a highly athletic and diverse lifestyle. In the late 1980s, he was ranked as the #1 high school football quarterback in the United States. Soon after, he pivoted to baseball, and when his sports career ended, he joined his brother's business and launched the entire American Restoration franchise. In an early episode of Pawn Stars, Ron appeared as a customer trying to sell a rusted vintage Coke machine to Rick Harrison. Rick Harrison bought it and sent it to Rick Dale to restore. The producers loved the brothers' dynamic so much that they greenlit American Restoration shortly after. On the show, Ron served as the main picker and runner. He became a massive fan favorite, and he loved the fans back. Unlike Cowboy or Kyle, who actively disliked the fake nature of reality TV, Ron openly admitted in interviews that he absolutely loved being a television star, calling it the most fun he has ever had at a job. When the end of the show came, Ron was deeply devastated. He completely cut ties with the television industry. He left Hollywood behind and instead chose a life in Nevada, pivoting his skills to building custom, high-end cruiser and lowrider bicycles. This boycott by the network affected the whole family. Even Ron's nephew was heavily affected. Number 1, Tyler Dale. This man was literally raised on the shop floor of Rick's Restorations. From a very young age, he watched his father work, slowly absorbing the complex skills required to rebuild vintage Americana. When American Restoration premiered, Tyler became a central figure, recognizable by his signature two-toned hair. On the show, his narrative arc focused heavily on his growth from an easily distracted teenager into a highly skilled fabricator and welder. Rick was famously hard on Tyler, constantly pushing him to match his own perfectionist standards. Despite the intense pressure, Tyler proved his elite talent, successfully leading massive, complex restorations independently. One time, he led a team that restored a rare 1950s atomic-era rocket slide and vintage mechanical arcade games. He was widely viewed by the network and fans as the future leader who would eventually inherit the family empire. Tyler was only 22 years old and was just entering his prime as a master restorer when Left Field Pictures blindsided the family by firing them. Tyler did not just lose a television gig, his entire planned future was erased overnight. The multi-million-dollar business that Tyler had spent his entire youth preparing to inherit completely collapsed and closed its doors for good. Following this devastating professional blow, Tyler completely walked away from the entertainment industry. He did not chase reality TV fame or try to launch an influencer brand. Instead, he chose a highly private life in Las Vegas, quietly continuing his passion for building and fabricating custom, high-end muscle cars completely away from Hollywood. What are your thoughts on how the series ended? What do you think happened to Rick Dale? And if you were to have a say, what crossover stars would you have loved to be permanent members on the show? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.